What's up, guys? Eli here, back for a new stuff video. Pretty much all movie edition, all horror, and mostly horror related stuff in general. But I have other goodies, like I have a couple T-shirts, got some comic books, all horror stuff. The theme that I usually go with, and yeah, a nice, good stack of movies. So let's get into it. I'll start with the movies first, then I'll get into the other goodies. After that, got a couple Blu-rays that I was really happy to add to my collection. Beginning with a movie that I've oddly avoided for the longest time. I don't know why. First of all, I just got this, but I had never even seen this movie until actually last night. I thought it was fantastic. We're talking about Invasion of the Body Snatchers from 1978. This is a remake of a 1956 film, which I also haven't seen, and this is just stellar. I love the hell out of it. Amazing cast. You had, oh my god, you had Donald Sutherland, Brooke Adams, Leonard Nimoy, and fucking Jeff Goldblum. So, yeah, directed by Philip Kaufman. Absolutely fantastic. Just nothing on the inside, really. Definitely check this out. I definitely got some Lovecraft atmosphere, if you ask me. The storyline seems very Lovecraft inspired if I were to kind of dissect it. But God, absolutely check it out. This just has what a lot of movies are lacking in nowadays. You have memorable characters. You have characters that are all unique. They all have their own backstories, and it's just something you don't see enough nowadays. And God, yeah, golden era of horror, if you ask me. Then I got another movie which I've never seen from a franchise that I had pretty much given up on, but I decided to dive back in and kind of reinvestigate. We're talking about Underworld Awakening. This is from 2012. It's the fourth movie in the franchise. I've only seen the first three. I really, really like the first one. The second one I don't like as much, but it's still very good. The third one I just remember being absolutely boring, and I gave up on the franchise. But like I said, I'm diving back in, and yeah, we'll see how that goes. And I even have a new movie here from this year. Of course, we're talking about the movie X, directed by Ty West, who is a director that I didn't really realize how much he was on my radar until this movie came out, because I actually have the previous two movies he'd done, and I liked them both. I just never really paid attention to the name. He directed a movie called The Sacrament, which I really liked. I think that one's a little underrated. It is found footage, so I can see why a lot of people would kind of just toss that one aside. But he also did a movie called House of the Devil, which was really, really good. So X kind of has sort of similar House of the Devil vibes, where it's a retro movie. It's set in the 70s, but done very, very carefully and respectively, and actually give you 70s vibes. I would say that I don't get the 70s vibes as much as House of the Devil, but it's still a very, set in the 70s type movie. I thought this was great. It's very sexual. There's it's based around basically a group of people that make porno movies, because that was kind of becoming a thing back then. And yeah, just really good. It also has some obvious odes to like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and even maybe like what's that movie called? Maybe Eaten Alive, and some other Toby Hooper stuff. And I will say I don't think this is maybe as good as some people make it out to be. I didn't quite get the kind of drop dead modern classic that some people are kind of ranting about, but it's still very good. Definitely worth watching. And they're doing a prequel. Actually, I think it's already been filmed, so there's going to be a prequel coming out soon, and I'm definitely on board for that as well. So yeah, if you've seen X, a lot of talk about this movie. What do you guys think about it? I got a couple of 2021 releases. So this one I picked up just, first of all, it looks cool. It's an animated movie, a Shudder original. My buddy Todd over at CD Cult had picked this up and was kind of singing its praises, so I decided to grab it. I got it at Walmart really cheap. We're talking about The Spine of Night. Just looks like cool. Just I love animated movies, and yeah, I don't know a whole lot about it, but it's got a pretty good voice cast here. You got Lucy Lawless, Patton Oswalt, one of my favorite comedians of all time, Joe Manganiello. Looks cool. I think it's like a post-apocalyptic type setting, if I remember it correctly. But yeah, anyone seen The Spine of Night? Let me know what you think. And then I got Wormwood Apocalypse. This is a sequel to another movie called Wormwood something. Maybe it was just called Wormwood, which I really, really enjoyed. So this is an Australian like post-apocalyptic zombie movie. So not the most unique setting. It's nothing that hasn't already been done, of course, but it's done well. And I'm mostly talking about the first Wormwood. I haven't actually watched Apocalypse yet, but like I said, I really, really enjoyed the first one. It was a fairly low budget movie, but a lot done with the budget. It looked great. It was engaging and fun and action packed and gory, and yeah, I'm really, really, really stoked to watch this one. I guess years ago, like 5 years ago, there was talk about a TV series taken from the Wormwood universe, and I don't think it ever happened. I find myself really wondering where I don't know, maybe it was a funding issue, or yeah, I'd still like to see it if it's possible, but I don't think it's going to happen. So this movie I had to snag after a couple years of hearing pretty much nothing but really positive things. I'd seen it in a local store, and I was like, "Fuck, I'm just gonna grab it." I haven't watched it yet, but talking about the Autopsy of Jane Doe from 2016. Um, this came out on Scream Factory and IFC Midnight. I remember when I was first like really, really getting into um, horror, and kind of breaking the surface, not the mainstream stuff, but digging just a little bit deeper. I used to pretty much buy anything that I saw with the IFC Midnight title, but I haven't paid as much attention lately. But this is one of them. It's got a good cast: Emil Hirsch, Brian Cox. I've always been a Brian Cox fan. Yeah, what do you guys think? Like I said, I've seen a lot of talk about this one. I really don't know anything about it, but yeah, Autopsy of Jane Doe. Then a classic that I just had to add to my collection. I used to have the first one. I don't think I actually have that anymore, so I need to rebuy that as well. But we're talking about Creepshow 2 from 1987. You guys all know Creepshow. I don't really have to say too much about it. Anthology movie, which I love anthologies, based on stories by Stephen King and directed by Michael Gornick. Tom Savini was in this. I forgot about that. Yeah, he didn't do any of the effects. He just Tom Savini did a little bit of acting back in the day, periodically actually. But yeah, always like seeing him in movies. It's always kind of funny. And I had to grab this because I'm such a fan of the. I was gonna say the original, but the '80s remake that we all know and love. Talking about The Thing from 2011. I did own this. I bought this back when it came out, but I was so disappointed with it, I had to get rid of it. But after 11 years of pondering and actually reading about this movie and watching videos, kind of talking about all the trouble that went with making this movie, I just told myself, yeah, I got to rebuy it. I got to rewatch it. I think it's actually really good for what it is. There are some obvious flaws, but I think there's a lot to like here if you can just kind of open your mind up a little bit. I don't know why they called it The Thing. I'm not a fan of when people make a sequel or a prequel, for that matter, to a movie and just give it the same title as the original. I think it's kind of a trend in movies, and I think it's not a good one. So if you're wondering, if you've probably heard about this, but if you haven't and you don't really know what it is a prequel to the Thing. This is kind of what transpires, before that movie starts. One of my problems with it is it's so similar. It's it's a prequel, yet it's almost the same movie. At least that's what I remember from 11 years ago. I could be very wrong, but I don't think they quite gave this enough of its own identity. But like I said, it's been 11 years. I need to rewatch it and reassess it. Maybe when I do, maybe I'll come back and talk a little more. But one of the things that I always found interesting was this movie is kind of hampered by its really dated CGI, which I always thought was really stupid. It was almost dated from it was already dated when it came out, basically. But I actually learned recently that the studio had put a lot of time and effort into making like all the monsters using practical effects. But I guess the studio basically sent it back. I guess the studio was like, no, we don't. This practical effects thing is dated. Where we're moving towards CGI. So they basically all the time and effort the team put into making the practical effects completely wasted, and it just was overdone with CGI, and that just kind of breaks my heart. You can actually watch videos here on YouTube about the practical effects and how cool they looked. This movie could have been really awesome, but like I said, I think it's pretty decent if you can get over its flaws. And speaking of Underworld, I don't think I've ever actually owned it, so here is the 2003 debut movie in the franchise. I actually really like it. I haven't seen it for probably a decade, so we'll see if my memory is accurate when I rewatch it. But always, like I said, always really liked it. Love the idea of pitting the vampires and the werewolves against each other with like this hundreds or even I think thousands of year long war. They basically just been at war with each other since the beginning of time, and just a cool idea. Being a huge fan of vampires and werewolf movies, I just thought it was kind of perfect. It's like I said, I remember it being a really good movie, and really stoked to watch it. I much always preferred the first to the second. The second one was maybe more action packed, but this one was more atmospheric, and I don't know, I just always preferred it. So this is the unrated director's cut. It's got 2 discs. It's really heavy. It comes with some cool goodies. It's got a sketch to scene comparison. So it's got basically concept art from the movie. Haven't gone through this much, but it's very cool. And it also came with a comic book done by IDW Comics, which is a comic company that's fantastic. I actually own a lot of comics from that company. So for anyone to do this, they're perfect for the job. It's a decent length comic. It's got to be like close to 20, maybe 30 pages. I did not know that Danny McBride wrote the screenplay to this movie. Danny McBride, the guy that we know for being super funny in movies like Pineapple Express and stuff. I didn't know that he was writing screenplays and shit back then. But really cool. What a talented dude. I mean, plus you get Kate Beckinsale. I mean, I could just look at her for 2 straight hours without any kind of movie going on. But it's a cool movie. We got a couple of zombie movies I've been wanting to add to my collection for a long time. I haven't seen either of these two, despite their kind of cult status. First one we're talking about is from 1986, Night of the Creeps. I know, I haven't seen it. I like how it's a movie from '86, but it is like a, I think it's set it's set in the '50s, I believe. So it kind of, set in 1959. It says on the back here. Always wanted to watch it. You got you got Tom Atkins. I mean, you can never go wrong with Tom Atkins. I've heard so much good about this movie over the years. I don't know why it's taken me so long to pick it up, and I still haven't watched it, but I will be doing that soon. The other one is the 1990 remake of Night of the Living Dead. I love Night of the Living Dead, the original. Who doesn't? I know from what I've seen, this is really, really true to the original. At least, like I said, at least from what I've seen. I haven't seen the whole movie. Maybe some changes were made. I don't know. But I've always wanted to watch this version. I have the original version in my collection, both the black and white and the colored version. So this is a colored remake, like I said, from 1990, directed by Tom Savini, which is pretty cool. I know he did a few movies, but I've always heard really good things about this, so I've always wanted to see it. And yeah, it'll be cool to see, see if it brings anything new to the table. I have heard for a remake that this is a really good movie. And it just goes to show that they were already remaking horror movies, even back in 1990. They just weren't doing it as often and as relentless as they do over the last 20 years. But yeah, stoked to watch this. Not really sure why I grabbed this, but I did nonetheless. I just watched the first the movie that this is a sequel to. I watched this a couple weeks ago, and I thought it was okay. I didn't love it, but I guess I don't know. I just kind of wanted to watch this. We're talking about It Chapter 2 from 2019. Like I said, I just recently watched the first, and I remember when it came out, so many people were singing its praises. I think it's pretty good. I certainly don't think it's great. It does have some rewatch value with me. I'll probably watch it a few more times. But after that, I don't know. After I watch it maybe once or twice more, I don't think I'll ever really need to watch it again. I do think that Bill Skarsgård was a pretty good Pennywise. Obviously, way, way different from Tim Curry's Pennywise. Almost a completely different character, but still, I think he did a good job in making Pennywise his own character instead of just copying what Tim Curry already did. So lately, I've been really wanting to get a copy of Race with the Devil from 1975. So I found this at a local store. I found this kind of double pack here with Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry from '74, and Race with the Devil from '75. Race with the Devil seems really, really cool. I've wanted to see it for a long time. I love movies like '70s movies about satanic cults and stuff like that. I'm absolutely obsessed. So yeah, stoked to watch this. I don't think I've ever heard of Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry. I don't, other than horror, I don't watch a lot of like '70s movies. So this is yeah, Peter Fonda in this, and yeah, this is a really nice set, by the way. That's the inside. And then you got the Race with the Devil movie poster. Oops. Underneath. Yeah, super stoked to watch this. Shout Factory, of course, they always do a nice job with their physical product. I don't think I can really say enough good things about them. Then I got a movie from 2008. I actually owned this back in 2008, but kind of lost it to an ex-girlfriend and a breakup, so I'm glad to have this again. And it's been so long since I've seen it, and my memory is so shit that I don't really remember that much about it. I just remember it being really good. Directed by Jennifer Lynch, who's David Lynch's daughter. We're talking about Surveillance. I haven't kept up on Jennifer Lynch's work. I don't know what else she's done, but gosh, she fucking knocked it out of the park with this one. Like father, like daughter, right? Similar to David Cronenberg's son, Brandon Cronenberg, who's been directing and also knocking it out of the park, at least from what I've heard. I haven't seen Possessor yet, but I've read a lot about it. It seems like a really cool movie, and I don't know what else he's done. But back to anyways. We're not talking about Cronenberg. Talking about Jennifer Lynch. Yeah, I'm gonna have to investigate the rest of her work. So we got Bill Pullman, Julia Ormond, Pell James. I love Bill Pullman, always have. So this is a movie about some FBI investigators. I remember there being like a huge, crazy twist to this movie. But like I said, it's been 13, 14 years. I remember very little other than remembering this kind of blew me away. So it'll be really, really nice to rewatch that. Kind of over the last 5 or 6 years, kind of getting into like old spaghetti westerns and stuff. I think they're really fun. Like I love Good, the Bad, the Ugly. So I got this 16 film set called Fistful of Bullets Spaghetti Western Collection. It's a really, really nice set. It's a tin, as you can see. Really well done. This has 4 DVDs. So what we have on it, we have Apache Blood from 1975, Between God, the Devil, and a Winchester from 68, Beyond the Law from 68, Death Rides a Horse from 68, The Fighting Fist of Shanghai from 72, Find a Place to Die from 68, Fistful of Lead from 70, God's Gun from 75, Grand Duel from 74, Gunfight at Red Sands from 64, It Can Be Done Amigo from 73, Johnny Yuma from 66, Sundance and the Kid from 69, This Man Can't Die from 67, Trinity and Sartana from 72, and Twice a Judas from 69. Ah, that was a mouthful. I kind of regret naming every movie, but so yeah, come these like felt. I don't know why the back part comes off, but it does. I no idea why. So it looks like all. Now this is where this gets kind of weird. And I don't know if it came this way, but all 4 DVDs are just stacked on top of each other in here. That's not good, but whatever. I think I paid $3 for this thing, so yeah, I'm really stoked to watch all these. I don't know. Any of you guys into spaghetti westerns? And do any of you own this set? Seems like a hell of a thing to have. Yeah, I mean, you got movies from Lee Van Cleef, Jack Palance, Richard Harrison, Klaus Kinski. It's awesome. So that's it for the movies. I have a couple t-shirts, though. I think I'll show you just because they're horror related. Picked up this Godzilla shirt. How cool is that? And you can never have too many Friday the 13th shirts. I'm a big fan of Jason Voorhees, so I picked that up. Now I got some comic books, guys. I know I don't think there are many of you out there that care about them, but I'll just breeze through them real quick. I got number 5 in the Silver Lantern Club miniseries from Hellboy. I'm a massive Hellboy fan. Easily one of my favorite comic book characters. I got Delta 13, first issue. Written by Steve Niles. I'm a big Steve Niles fan. Hell of a guy, too. I've met him in person. Dead Man Beyond the Sea. I don't buy a lot of DC stuff, and I don't buy a lot of superhero stuff. I mainly bought this because Mike Mignola drew the cover. Mike Mignola created Hellboy. He's a legend, and I'm pretty much obsessed with him. Thought these looked really cool. I got issues 2, 3, and 4 of... it's called Die, 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 written by Robert Kirkman. I've heard this comic is just absolutely over the top, ultra violent. So I thought it'd be fun. I mean, look at you can tell just by the cover. You got a dude who has had his nose severed off. I got issue 3. I'm assuming they didn't have issue 1, or I would have probably picked that up. Issue 4. I've got a couple of this series that I've never heard of called Doctor Sleepless. I mean, how cool is that artwork? This is from the Avatar label, which is one of my favorite modern comic book companies, written by Warren Ellis, who is just an absolute legend. They had a bunch of these. I just grabbed the first 2 just to test them out. If I paid $1 each for them, so if I like them, I'll go back and get the rest. But yeah, issue 2. And one of my favorite comic books of all time. I grabbed this because I don't remember if I have it, because I know I don't have them all. I really need to go back and complete the entire series. I probably have the first 20 or so. We're talking about Chew. If you're a comic fan, dude, look into Chew. It is one of my favorite comic books, not of the last 20 years, but just ever. Just absolutely fantastic. Yeah, John Layman and Rob Geary, just two dudes that have basically become legends in the comic world. I grabbed this issue 2. I would have grabbed the first issue if I'd have seen it, but I didn't. This comic has kind of gotten a lot of talk since it came out a couple years back. I think they've already made a TV show about it, if I remember correctly. American Jesus. I mean, it's got an inverted cross on there. I'll buy any comic book with an inverted cross. But yeah, written by Mark Millar, who's done a lot of good shit. Then I have a couple trade paperbacks. Just based on the name, I had to grab this. Fall of Cthulhu, The Gathering. Why wouldn't I get that? This came out on via Boom Studios, who great comic company. One of my favorites of the last 20 years or so. Looks pretty cool. I don't know if it's an anthology, or I don't really know anything about it yet. I haven't read it. Like I said, I just picked it up based on the name alone. Artwork looks pretty good. And then last but certainly not least, there's no way I couldn't buy this. I think I might have heard about this back when it came out, but I just never picked it up. Freddy versus Jason versus Ash. The Nightmare Warriors came out on Wildstorm Comics, and Dynamite Entertainment. Two really good companies. Had to get it. I haven't even opened this thing up yet, to be honest. I don't know what it looks like on the inside. Here's some cool concept art. That's badass. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Should be a blast regardless. I mean, three of my favorite horror characters. Yeah. Any of you guys have this? I know I've heard a lot of people talk about it. This would have made a cool movie, but obviously that's not going to happen. But anyways, guys, that's all I got. I'll be back probably in a couple days. I got a new stuff video coming with more CDs and records I've been buying lately. I'm still working on my LLN video. I'm working on it very slowly, but hopefully within the next couple weeks. When I say LLN, I'm talking about the Lay Legion Noir scene from black metal scene from early '90s out of France. It's going to be a lot of, I want to say fun, but it's kind of a hard one to tackle. I have a pretty good. I probably have 2/3 of all the demos that came out from that scene. I was considering doing like a comprehensive, I was going to talk about every single release, but I'm just going to focus on the ones that I have. Like I said, I have like 2/3 of them anyways, and I don't usually talk about stuff that I don't own on this channel. And let's just face it, that would be kind of a lot of work. I got my notebook. I've been taking notes every time I listen to one of the demos, and they're not the easiest demos to review or to talk about. I mean, fuck, you can't even pronounce the names of the bands. You can't pronounce the names of the dudes in the bands. It's not very YouTube friendly. I could write really good reviews of those demos probably, but doing it on video, it's tough. But I'm gonna do it. That'll probably be out hopefully within the next 2 or 3 weeks. And if you guys aren't too familiar with that scene, hopefully you'll watch my video and maybe investigate it, because it's kind of a gold mine of obscure, fucked up, raw black metal and weird dark ambient and all kinds of shit. So anyways, that's all I got, guys. Louis says hello. He's laying down somewhere back here. There he is. But as always, thanks for stopping by. We'll talk soon. Cheers.